Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today, we are going to be looking at this very early Pemco Model 70 Brightway 400. So, I'm sure you guys already know that there is a video existing on this fixture on YouTube, but this version that I have is a bit older and it is different in quite a few ways. So this video will take a look at this fixture and I will be explaining as many of the differences between the different versions as I can. And it'll be nice just to have my own video up here on this particular fixture. So this fixture has been found primarily in New York and in Pennsylvania. I believe a while ago, New York used to have quite a few of these, but of course now they're all gone. And they've been found a few places around the country in small pockets, but generally they're pretty rare and they're actually pretty hard to find using in street lighting. I think they're more common to find in parking lots. And that just so happens to be where this one came from. This does not have a photocell socket. This was used on a group relay where all the fixtures in the lot were turning on and off at the same time. That's a pretty common setup used in parking lots. And this particular fixture came out of New Jersey, and luckily enough, there is a photograph of this fixture along with its the other one on the same pole. Back before they had been taken down, they had been retrofitted with LED, but the LED bulb that had been put inside of these fixtures was really pretty terrible. They did not last, and the owners just wanted to get all new LED fixtures because, well, the LED bulbs that they had put inside were just destroying themselves. So when they had been removed, they got saved, and I'm not sure how many fixtures there were. There were at least 2 of them. I don't know the complete number. There's only those few photographs, but this fixture was originally remote ballasted, probably 400 watt mercury vapor, but I decided to go ahead and put a ballast in it. It has an advanced 250 watt mercury vapor or metal halide ballast. That ballast came out of my OV12 and I wanted to use it in this fixture because I would like to have it ballasted, and also that ballast I couldn't get it to fit in inside of any of my other fixtures, and it just happened to fit in here, so it just made sense to put it in there. So this would have been originally 400 watts, but they were available in 250 watts. So I don't really think it's too big of a deal. It is still a factory option. So you guys probably know that Pemco is known for, let's say, being heavily inspired by other companies, and the biggest one being General Electric. So I've got my 1966 M400 right here, so that we can take a look at some of the similarities between these two fixtures. And they both have the little ridge on the top and the bottom, and you'll see on both the Pemco and the GE fixture, towards the back of the fixture, that ridge goes up. And again, it's hard to believe that this wasn't Pemco copying GE because this detail is so specific. GE was the only one that used it, and then Pemco came along and used it, but I don't think any other company used it after that unless they were copying GE fixtures. The glass is different, but you can see when we look at these two fixtures that they are very similar. Now, the M400A, which came out later, actually uses power door, just like the Pemco fixture, so it's not too unreasonable to think that it's possible that General Electric actually got inspired by Pemco, and that would actually be kind of funny because it was originally Pemco taking ideas from General Electric. So now I want to bring up the patent for this fixture. The patent shows, of course, this particular light in a way that is basically identical to the fixture that has been seen numerous times. However, the latch on the front is a little bit different, and when we take a look on the inside of this fixture, we'll be able to see that. They also changed the way that the ballast door is attached, but once they made a few changes, it stayed pretty consistent, and there's not a whole lot different between these fixtures functionally. There's just a few minor things to point out. So you've got the handheld camera now, and we're going to take a closer look at the fixture, and we'll start at the top. The top is your standard Cobra head fixture. It's really not that special, but you see this design detail, which is GE made, and the little fin here on the back. This is just a little weird. They flank these two bolts here that are used for leveling the fixture. You'll see there's some rings in there that clamp onto the arm, and then you can twist these screws and adjust that. And it was my speculation that these two little ribs here that make up this fin were simply made as a structural reinforcement, and it makes sense. This is the area that's most prone to damage because it has all the weight of the fixture. There was a photograph I had seen of a Cooper OVX that had it sheared off and just a slip fitter portion that was left up, so that would make sense. But reading through the patent, the only purpose that this served was to hide the screws from people, just to give the fixture a cleaner appearance, and I think that's actually really cool. Whoever designed this, they really did care about their fixture. It's kind of sad it only made into production for 3 or 4 years. But with that said, the photocell socket is the first difference that I'll point out here. The other fixtures and the ones that I'll be talking about will be those by Ben. He has a fixture that has a photocell socket that has a blank cap on it, which he replaced. But when he had it, it had a flat disc on the top, and this one has a full cup that goes around and probably makes a little bit nicer seal, but it's the first difference that I want to point out. Next, there are 2 screws here, and we'll see what those are for in a moment. But other than that, it's really plain. Something that I do want to point out here is this little mark here on the front of the fixture, and this is kind of interesting. I have no idea why this is here, but a speculation is we saw in that patent that there was a different latch design, and this might be where they changed the design for manufacturer from the original latch design to this button style latch. I don't have any proof of that, but it might make sense. So now let's look at the other rest of the fixture here, the door. Again, it's got this detail, very nice, simple design. It has a very large hinge on the bottom, unlike any other street light. The glass, and then our Pemco push button. So I'll get this thing flipped over and we'll get a better look at what the underside looks like. So with the fixture flipped on its back, we can see the hinge here. This is really thick metal. This is probably the thickest metal I've seen on a street light, but it's a very nice simple hinge. You can see the first little clamp here, and then there's another one further inside the fixture. There's a screw here. There's a very large flathead screw here. This is probably the biggest flathead screw I've seen. Very large hinge assembly, very robust, with holes that lead directly into the fixture. Some drip holes, and yeah. And another thing I would like to point out is General Electric, when they came out with their power door fixture, The this is at an angle on the Pemco, and General Electric also did theirs at an angle, which is that's, well, kind of interesting as well. Something else that's kind of the same, I think the angles is a different way, but it's another detail. The lens on this is a very nice halophane lens with very nice crispy details, which we'll take a look better look at. And then some screws and the push style button latch, which is very easy to operate, and I'd say it might even be a little bit easier than the General Electric fixtures. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the insides of the fixture. Alright, so I've got the fixture on its back here, and to open this, you push in this button, and it pushes away from the fixture, unlike the General Electric fixtures at the time, and fairly easily. It lifts up, and you just kind of, you normally have to pull it upwards, but since it's upside down, it's backwards, and the door comes off very easily. So now we'll take a look at the door in depth. Alright, so here's the door separate from the fixture, and we'll take a look at this. This door piece is about as good quality as anything else from the 1960s. It is really nice. Take a look at the latch assembly, how that's made. It's got a few pieces in here. It is screwed in, so you can take it out if you want to. And the glass has 3 tabs holding it in, 2 towards the front and 1 on the back. Now, to remove your glass, all you have to do is loosen the screw a little bit, and this piece will slide back, and your glass comes out. And we can take a few more looks at the fixture. So the fixture, oh, come on. So I've got the door here again, the latch, how that looks, it's pretty simple. These tabs here I do not like though. These tabs are made of very thin metal. They're too thin and they're very flexible. Like I can bend that with my finger and it's no good. Again, here's another difference. The one that Ben has narrower tabs. Not a big difference, but it is there. And you got the latch, or the hinge assembly here. Very good. Nothing too complicated, but it is nice. So I would like if they would have put their logo on this somewhere. So, the glass here is probably the more interesting that we need to look at. So, we will take a look at it. This is the glass that is commonly found on these fixtures. This is actually a Sleeko made glass. Now, you guys know that Sleeko is a New York company that made primarily streetlight poles. They did make a couple fixtures, but generally they're just kind of only making poles, but also this glass. And this glass was made both as a replacement for Pemco glass, and also I think I heard that if you were to order a Pemco fixture in New York, or this one came from New Jersey, it would just come pre-made with the Sleeko glass instead of the Pemco glass. And if you were in Pennsylvania or somewhere else, you would get the Pemco glass. So this is basically the same thing. It does have the name or the model on it, but just the Pemco glass has the Pemco diagonally with the in the cursive. It looks basically identical to this. Mine unfortunately has a couple chips in it, but overall it's in pretty good shape. It does need to get cleaned out, but the glass is in relatively good shape. It looks like it's a little foggy. I don't know if that's just because it's dirty though. A little bit of that should clean up though. Again, it's got the detail on the back that lets you know that it's a halophane made glass. And I really like the way that this looks on the bottom. It's kind of interesting pattern that I really like. And again, this is, if you've seen the other video, you would know this. This is the same glass that's used on the Powerlight B2255 and B2228. So when Pemco just used this glass for a matter of years, it was originally Wheeler's design, then Pemco got it, and then Pemco sold it to Powerlight, and Powerlight continued to make this lens. So if your fixture didn't have a glass lens, you might be able to find a Powerlight one, but those really aren't common either. Let's take a look at the mold embossings. So this says street side on it. I don't know if it's not going to focus. Street side. Style number. House side. If it'll focus. House side. And then Hall of Fame number. Hall of Fame part number. Patent pending. So I don't know. I can't remember if Ben said patent pending, but it's a very, very simple piece of glass. I like it. Probably like it a little bit more than the GE glass. It's a really nice design. So now we'll take a look at the reflector and the rest of the fixture. So you guys probably know the next thing that we need to do in order to take this thing apart is we need to take the entire reflector out of the fixture. So I'm going to take this out here, and actually this is something else that I'm going to have to show you guys up close. This is, again, it's different than the way that you take out the other Pemco reflectors. It does come out eventually after some drying. So I've got the reflector here, and it's not great. It's a little bit foggy, but that's fine. Again, this looks like it would have had a sticker here, but it's gone. There's no other stickers on this though. No Pemco or Alzac sticker on this one. I don't see any spots where that would have gone, so it's very possible this just never had it. And now looking at the latch, or the little piece here, the little spring. Look at that. That's very different than his fixture. Very corroded, but it works. It reminds me of the Westinghouse ones. And now the gasket on this is again your red gasket that's common. And the thing that surprised me most about this is that this gasket is still flexible. If I press on this, you can see this gasket's got a lot of life left in it, which is really surprising from something that's as old as this. Usually these gaskets get real withered, but I mean, I'm really happy that it is in the condition it's in. So now I would like to open up the ballast portion of the fixture. So to open this one, it's again different. His fixture has a barn style latch, whereas this one has a little knob that you untwist. And when you untwist it, the whole ballast assembly comes out. You have to be a little careful with it. So back with the free floating camera here, we've got the fixture housing. So we'll go ahead and start by looking at the back here. You have the notches for the door, and then these, you've already seen these before, the little grub screws that attach it, and this fixture can only be used on a 2-inch pipe. So if you have an 1 1/4 mast arms, you're just kind of out of luck, I guess. I don't remember there ever being an adapter for this, but I don't really know. You could maybe exchange these grip screws for something longer, but it was never intended, I don't think. So here's the bottom of the photocell socket, or where the photocell socket would go. It's the same, you just unloosen those two screws and it twists into the direction of the direction you want it to face. And now this is kind of weird. This was a remote ballast fixture. These two terminals are what would hold your wires on. And there's a middle piece that looks like it's wood or composite material. I'm not really sure. But this is the remote ballast ones. And you'll see this is a little bit different. I'll show what his looks like. And yeah, there's a big difference between these fixtures. Instead of your burn latch, you have this nut here. And now up here, we have the little piece that the latch grabs onto, and this is where the reflector clips in. Now this piece of metal here is the piece shown in the patent. There's a piece of metal that kind of goes like in a U shape, and it sits on this piece of metal. And so that's still, I don't think they really need it anymore. I haven't checked to see if the reflector sits on that, but I don't think it does. I think that's just simply an artifact of the original design. So, with that being said, we'll mention that these little bars here are what the doors sit on. But it's really simple, really plain. It's a little bit of a pain, but yeah, it's not too bad. So let's go take a look at the ballast. So this is the ballast. This is the one that came out of my OV12. It's not the best ballast to be used in this particular application, but I had it sitting around and it wasn't doing anything, so I might as well put it in here because I'd like to get my use out of it. And the capacitor is just an advanced ballast. It's multi-tap, so I'm probably going to trim back these leads, but yeah, it's wiring it in right now, probably. I'll be tidying up this wiring eventually. I might replace the capacitor. I haven't decided yet, but with how much use I'm going to be getting out of this fixture, I don't really think it's going to be a huge deal. You have this big plate here, which has the wiring diagram for the version that has 3 capacitors. And this is where the terminal block would have been. I don't know why mine's missing. That's where the latch would have gone, because this plate came out of one that was a newer one, just so I could add a ballast on it, but it's basically the same thing. Actually, the original one probably would have had the ballast on it vertically. And there are some stickers here, not the Pemco one though, but that's pretty good. Now here's the biggest difference. The socket assembly on this is really weird. It has this big metal piece. This is what the screw grabs onto instead of having the burn latch on it. And then your socket is here. You got a gasket, and it's infinitely variable, which is really weird. If you guys remember from his video, his socket had 2 positions that you had to choose from, either for 250 or 400 watt mercury vapor. This one just has a long line here. You just loosen the screw and you can choose wherever you want this socket to be positioned. And then the third version that came out actually had, I think, 5 different positions that you had to choose from. So all 3 unique designs. This is just happens to be the earliest one. You can see how this is all held together. That one big screw that holds the whole thing together. Pretty nice. It's definitely a good quality fixture. It's just a little weird. So, now with that said, I think I've covered up everything that I've covered everything that I would like to with this fixture. So we will put this back together and we'll fire it up. Right. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this together. So I'm gonna start by feeding the wire through the slip cutter, and Now we should be ready. There we go. Have to be a little bit careful with the latch here. Has to pull out a little bit before it closes. I just had a wire nut get stuck inside of the door, so that's why I won't close. Gotta tighten this up. Make sure it's nice and tight. And then put the door on. But first, I have to put the reflector in. So the reflector, you just gotta pop it in just like so. Yeah, it's pretty happy just like that. And can't go really any further because we need a bulb. And this is the bulb that I have for the fixture. And it is a Westinghouse Lifeguard 250 watt mercury vapor bulb, clear topper. It's a pretty nice bulb. It's kind of small for the fixture, but it was available in 250 watt. So I'll get that installed here. Looks a little weird in there, but I can move that socket forward to make it more centered. And then I'm going to get this door on. Which is sometimes a little difficult. You have to make sure you pull up on it because if not, it will jam. Latch clips in, and now it's assembled. All right, so here is my Pemco Style 70 Brightway 400 and 250 watts mercury vapor, turning on in 3, 2, 1. So here we are. Yeah, that capacitor is definitely probably going to need to be replaced, but see, there's the Sleeko logo and the glass pattern. This fixture will be a lot happier once it gets a new capacitor. But It is very nice. I'll get the camera set up back here. So that's my Pemco Style 70 Brightway 400. I hope you guys learned something and enjoy this video. I certainly have plenty of other videos coming up, including that Westinghouse OV25, which you can see over there. But for now, that's all I have to say, so thanks to everyone for watching, and bye for now.